All right, guys, it's that time of week again. It's week 11 in the NHL Power Rankings. We'll jump straight into the action with my 32. Jaden, I've got the Chicago Blackhawks
Yeah, me too.
absolutely capitulating, man. Their season has gone pretty much how we expected it to be in the start, to be honest with you, man. I don't think any of us saw how well they were playing early in the season, and this is more of what we expected. So I don't think it's necessarily bad to see the Chicago Blackhawks down here. I just think there'd probably be a few disappointed fans given how
It's
well
it's
they
good.
started the season.
It's good
Yeah,
because if
they
you're not making playoffs, you want the best pick, right? So it's good in that
a hundred,
sense.
a hundred
Um,
percent, and I don't think they finished their rebuild.
nah, they've got a lot of pieces there. They show you they can do it when it's all performing.
Hmm.
But it still wasn't even good enough to get like fully in the top 16 consistently. So
Yeah,
it's they're a little bit away, but they're not that far away. Like they're probably a season, and if they get good picks this off season, which
yeah,
is looking like they will with how it's declines over the last month,
hmm
um, yeah, I think that rebuild could be really quick. Like that,
yeah. They've got good pieces, and I think adding another piece, a top five piece this draft, I think that could really be what pushes them over the edge.
all right. Moving on to my 31, I have Seattle.
Yeah, they almost were my 32. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I couldn't do it just for 32. I do think they're
Hmm.
playing better than what they're doing. But yeah, 1-3 record this week. It's just been steadily and slowly just not getting the results. It's kind of what was their last 10 now? 2-8. It's
Yeah.
yeah, they got a bad goal differential. They just can't score. Like they
Hmm.
got good goals against. Like they managed to keep um, goals against to reasonable. It's just they can't score. And I'm not as disappointed with Kraken on the ice than I am with
Yeah.
management not doing moves to fix that.
Yeah.
Because
And that,
I think that changes your season really quickly.
and now they've just traded out Mason Marchment. That's gonna make things even more interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's a
Um,
silent tank for a pick at this point. But yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they've obviously seen. I mean, Marchment may not have wanted to stay, which you don't want to risk an asset leaving for nothing, especially if you're not going to make the playoffs. But it is an interesting call because it pretty much shows where the Kraken are this season. They don't quite have faith that they've got it in them. All right, my 30, staying where they were last week. I've got the Columbus Blue Jackets.
then my 29.
Hmm. Yeah, look, a little bit disappointing. I expected a lot more from the Jackets this season, and it's just not happening. Um, they're quite fortunate with how many overtime sort of games they've gone into because I think they're last in terms of regulation wins this year. Um, they have a terrible last 10. They're just not getting it done. They're leaking too many goals at the moment, and yeah, it's just not good enough. They can't win in regulation. Um, I just don't know where it's going wrong, but they've had a breakdown since probably the first half of the season or first half of so far this season, and yeah, it continues to go in the wrong direction for them.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of interesting that the three teams we're talking about are the same teams that we've talked about over past seasons. So a little, it's kind of sad in that aspect.
Yeah.
On to 30, a team I did not expect to be this low by any means. Winnipeg Jets.
Oh, yeah, they're my 29th, but yeah, how bad is that?
Yeah. Look, I'll say if they learn how to be more consistent to go into OT and get OT loss points like the other teams, because they got
Hmm.
15 wins, they got more than Pittsburgh and a few other, like same as LA.
Yep.
They could be around, the 16 top 16 mark.
Yep.
But they aren't. They have. I don't know what's gone wrong with that team. 2-6-2 in their last 10. It's
Yep.
everything just seems to have capitulated. And yeah, for a team that was one of the favorites, not like to be like a cup contender this year, it's done a complete opposite.
Yeah, and like I get that, obviously Hellebuck went down, and I understand that, but their drop off started well before Hellebuck went down,
Mm. It
and
started
Helle
with their
and
defense. Yeah.
and Hellebuck's back now, so and they're still losing, so. Yeah, it's like you could put some of it down to being like, oh, well, when you lose a Vesna goalie, like it's gonna hurt. But this drop off started before he went down, and it's continued now that he's back. So, look, I think having Hellebuck back will help them, but there's clearly a lot more going wrong with the Jets at the moment, and I don't know how they get out of it, especially with how good that Central is at the moment with, the Avs Stars and Wild just dominating. And then you've got teams like Nashville who have somehow found some sort of form.
You're
St.
tr-
Louis aren't.
you're fighting for the fifth wild card and make sure the Pacific
Yeah,
have no wild card spots. That's what
that's what you're hoping for at the moment. It's crazy, man. And yeah, I just can't see how the Jets are going to do it at this point.
yeah. All right.
All right.
Your pick.
It's my pick. Yeah, that's right. 28. All right. Look, this team has probably been the best team this week since they made that massive trade, but the Vancouver Canucks for me at 28. I've moved them up how many games in a row they've won.
All right. I went big.
Oh,
I went
look,
big. 24, baby.
look. I feel like you're
I called it. I called it
I
on the
feel
trade. I called it.
yeah.
I knew
I
it.
feel like you're going big because you had a big call when that Quinn Hughes trade was made. You said they're going to go on a run. Um, yeah, look, I
Oh,
mean,
he like Quinn Hughes is a great player, but he was cancer in the locker room in the sense that it was like a funeral.
yeah,
In that sense, whether it's
yeah,
granted or not because of PD, lack of effort and
yeah.
whatnot. But I thought they were going to run because they got good assets. They
Hmm.
got rid of the I'd say probably locker room cancer in the sense. And it's Vancouver, so they're not allowed to get a top pick.
No,
They have to
no,
be ordinary. And
they,
they've looked good in these last four games. The
they have.
Ogren, Boom, like Rossi just played.
The Ogren situation needs to be studied, man. He had 0 points in 18 games for the Wild, and he's come out. Um, he's already got 2 points, I think, for the Wild and a shootout. Sorry, for the Canucks and a shootout win.
Yeah,
So, like,
no, it's when you let players play.
I
I think
guess
that's
that
fair.
was the thing, right? Was it that Ogren wasn't that good of a player for the Wild, or was it that he just wasn't being given the opportunity? So, look, sometimes when these trades happen, the players who get traded can have a sort of like point to prove, and they go out and they really start to prove it in the first 10 games with their new team, and then they sort of they push back a little bit to what they actually are. So we'll see if they can keep this up, but
Mm.
I don't know if I want to say it's good for the
No, it's
Canucks
bad.
because
It's bad. That's but
I, re-
they needed the tank. They need to
you know what I mean?
They need to trade Sherwood and stuff.
Yeah,
To
and
stop winning games.
I don't want them to get their confidence because this season is one of those seasons where if they keep winning a few games, they're going to be in the hunt because that
Yeah.
ladder is really, really tight. And I don't want them to get the idea that, oh, we could be a contender. No, you're not a contender. You're
Mm.
not a contender. You need to finish low, get some picks, keep this. You might not have a big rebuild, but you still need a season or two to get some picks, get some young youth through that door, and don't stuff it up by somehow finishing 18th and getting a dog shit pick. Like, just don't do that.
All right. 28. I have Toronto from Canadian to Canadian.
Wow, I kept them the same. I've got them at 22.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
it's rare
gone.
to make mistakes. With the Leafs. No,
Look,
it, they lose poorly. Is I guess the
hmm
best way to do it. They have a
hmm
very lack of effort. Uh, Matthews doesn't look like what he used to be. Um, there's a lot of data on his skating, his shooting, and speed wise in regards to that.
hmm
He looked alright like last game, with how he was breaking through the neutral zone and stuff. But his shots are always low. I've realized
Mm,
recently he never shoots high. Um, Morgan Riley got destroyed by defending recently,
mhm.
and that's kind of how the Leafs are. It's just there's one blowout after another. The goaltending is definitely not the problem, and they can't do enough. It's bad times for the Leafs. It really is.
Yeah, look, and they're not getting a lot of shots on the board either, which is not ideal for a team that with
Yeah, I
that
don't.
sort of
Yeah, I think
firepower.
there's an issue with their power play. Like,
Yeah.
Matthews doesn't get a shot. Like they don't
Yeah.
get the puck to Matthews, and
Which that comes down to two things, right? Like either they aren't good, like Matthews is the only option, so every player on the penalty kill knows just cover Matthews. Or they're just trying too hard to not give the puck to Matthews because they don't want to be predictable. Like you've got to do something. You don't have to go to Matthews all the time, but he's got to at least be getting a shot off every power play. And if you can't do that, then you're doing something wrong.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, they got a lot of
but
issues.
yeah, they have a lot of issues at the moment. I kept them at 22 because they've just been up and down. They've been roller coastering so much lately, and I don't want to move them down 6 spots only to move them up 6 spots next week when they win three in a row. Um,
Big call.
all
He's called
right.
it three in a row next week. No, 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 okay.
Yeah, you watch it. They're gonna lose three straight and be 32.
Well, I think they got
Um,
Dallas, and I think they'll win that, and then they'll lose against the easy team, which is the next game. That's I fully see that as a Leafs thing to do. Like, hey, we got to
it's
do it, and then just go back to normal.
it's got Leafs written all over it, doesn't it? All right, my 27 is the St. Louis Blues.
Yep, same.
Yeah, I mean, look, their play's been a lot better lately. I'm definitely not gonna sugarcoat around that. Like they were terrible there for a while, and I think they've been better. But I just, I'm not gonna just all of a sudden be like, yep, they're playing better hockey in the last 10 games. Let's just shoot them up the rankings. I think they seem to take a couple of steps forward and then a few steps back. Like they're still a negative 33 in goal difference, which is the worst in the league.
Yeah, they
Like,
they only have 14 wins.
yeah,
They they're doing better. 5-4-1 last 10, but
mm,
it's been bad for so long. And
yeah,
honestly, I feel like at this point of the season, the bottom end has probably been the most competitive or best it's been for the whole season. Um,
yeah,
and that's why they probably don't move up as high as that you might feel like they should, but because other teams are just at the lower ends are starting to compete harder.
mm,
Besides obviously the Toronto Jets and so on.
yeah,
For me,
and it's one of the tightest seasons in a long time that I reckon I can remember.
yeah.
Like we're looking at the Blackhawks, who are bottom of the standings right now, and in our power rankings, but they could go on a run and they could all of a sudden be in the playoffs.
Mm.
Like
Yeah,
it's
any team can do it.
yeah, and at this stage of the season, that's a wild thing. Like they don't need to do a St. Louis Blues run that they went on to win the cup. Like they were that bad that year. They were dead last and they went on stupid run. You could go on a 8-2-0 run in your next 10 and be in the playoffs at this stage. Like it's you're not that far out.
All right. On to my 26. I have the Utah Mammoth. Moving up
Yeah,
three.
they're my 25.
Yeah, look, 500 in their last 10, 5-5. They're 500 for the season. Um, One of the only teams in like the bottom 16 with a plus minus in the positive or goal differential,
Mm-hmm.
which is really good for them. Um, yeah, it's trending in the right direction. It's They've been competitive in the games they've lost as well,
Yeah,
but
which is
they
what you want to see.
it's what you want to see. It's just they not strong enough yet. But yeah, 2-2 for this
Mm.
week. Like going 500, but competing better even in the losses. That's why they
Mm.
move up, and the other team's sliding.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just kept them the sat like where they were last week because yeah, I agree with you. I think they are heading in the right direction, but I need to see more from them and I need to see them, win some consecutive games in a row. They can't just win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Yeah, we're gonna need to see more from them.
Yep.
All right, my 26, I've got the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, my 25.
Yeah, so you had the Predators above the Mammoth last week. I feel like these two teams are in similar positions now. Obviously, the Preds are a little bit different because they have been on a run lately. But they have another good week, 2-1. They're definitely out of that. I don't even know what do you call that start that they had. They were absolutely terrible. But it's so funny because all of the work they've put in over the last probably, what would you say, 10 to 15 games,
Mm.
they're still second to last in the standings.
Yeah,
Like that's how bad their run was that they have, even though they've been a lot better, even though they're on the positive end of the, last 10, they still find themselves second to last. So they dug themselves a hole. They've got themselves back around the pack. The question is now is can they keep it going?
yeah, yeah. Look, they beat Toronto, beat St. Louis, scoring 5 goals in both those. They were competitive against
Mhm.
Carolina, competitive against Avs in those losses. And then before that, they obviously did that thrashing on St. Louis. So they've been
Yeah.
pretty good and on a run as of recently. Moving on to 23, Buffalo.
Buffalo. Oh, yeah, they're my 23 as well.
Okay, and yeah, look, big run from this team. Probably
Hmm.
not something you'd expect. 5 wins in a row currently, and still
Hmm.
plus minus goal differential negative. But they're finally above 500 in points percentage,
Yep.
looking strong. Uh, I'm really happy for him. I want to get in top 16, make playoffs for once.
Yeah, look, it would be lovely to see. The one thing I don't want to see from them is what we have seen a couple of times and this season as well, is they're 7-3 in their last 10, and then they'll be 3-7 in their next. And this if they want to take that next step forward, because I've said it for a long time, I think it's organizational, not actually the team that they have problems with. I think that the team that they've got on the ice at the moment is strong enough. Like they're good enough. There's just something going through that organization that is causing chaos everywhere it goes.
Probably
Um,
insider gambling. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, yeah, they're betting and yeah, but I think they've got what it takes with the team they've got. I really do. Like they've got so much talent on this list. They just have to put it together consistently. And yeah, look, I'm with you, man. I hope what we've seen in the last, 10 games is what we see in the next 20, 30 games for them. I want to see them push and push hard for that playoff spot.
Yeah, your pick.
All right, my pick 24, I have the Calgary Flames.
Ooh, yeah, that is my 22.
Yeah, it was a toss up between Buffalo and Calgary, whether or not I had Buffalo above Calgary, but I have liked Calgary's play. I'm just I'm just enjoying what I'm seeing from Buffalo. I think they're playing a little bit stronger than Calgary at the moment. So they sort of climbed above Calgary, but in saying that, um, yeah, it's interesting. You've got the Sabres, the Flames, the Blues to an extent, and the Preds, who were all absolutely dog shit. Probably through the first 20 games of this season. Um, and now they're all going on runs and they're all putting their season together. So
Mm.
it's just been that crazy of a season that a team can go on a really bad run like the Flames and the Preds and that did, and then all of a sudden they turn their season around, and now you're sort of starting to question if the Flames keep playing the way they are, they're going to put themselves in a possible wild card race. Whether or not that's good for the franchise, I don't know, because I do think they need a top 5 draft pick to come into that team, but it's enjoyable to watch at the moment.
Alrighty, on to 21. I got San Jose. You may hear my kid crying in the background, but it's okay. He's trying to break
Uh,
into the room.
that's fair.
um, all right. Yeah. Moving on to San Jose 21. Just being slightly average, but not too bad. Recently, only the two games, 1-1. Not much more you can really move on them for a two-game week.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's kind of been average 5-5 in the last 10, going 500. They're slightly above 500. I'm really happy with them around 21. It feels about right.
Yeah, and I think if you're a Sharks fan, you're probably quite happy with 21 as well because I think they're still quite young. Yes, they've got all this talent, but they're a very young team. I still think they need a couple more pieces to go further. But to be playing the hockey that they're playing at the moment and to be playing as well as they do against some really top teams as well. Yes, they have their bad games, but they're a young team. It's going to happen. You got to be happy with this team at the moment. So, yeah, I think 21, even though it's a drop for the Sharks and they are dropping, I think you still got to be happy with this season they're putting together. All right, 20 for me. I've got the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Alrighty. That's exactly where I've got them.
Now, yeah, look, they're on a bit of a slide, and obviously they lost all four games again this week, going 0-3-1 with the one overtime loss. Uh, I believe they got shut out twice as well. They obviously made the Jarry Skinner trade, which I really don't think there's any difference in those two goaltenders. I think Skinner's actually can
Yeah.
be a decent goaltender if you put good defense in front of him. So I don't think that trade didn't make them better or worse. I think it was much the same. But they have gone on a slide. However, I do know that you want to talk about something on the Pittsburgh Penguins here and in regards to the schedule.
Yeah.
So I'll let you talk.
It's why I'm not lower on them, even though like their last 10 probably warrants it. Is one,
Hmm.
they are playing all right, like competing in the games that they're losing. But I just wanted to note that the schedule has been rough for them the last 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and that's where the slide started. Is they play a game, have a break, play a game, have a break, and it's been like that for 2 weeks. Now they're on a back to back after losing against Montreal, versus Montreal. Um, when you have a schedule like that, you don't get any training time. So if you start on a slide, it's hard to come out of that slide. Uh, so I I'm looking at this and seeing this 4 day break coming up after Montreal and Toronto. I reckon
Hmm.
they get back to training and turn it around again. Um, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It's one of those things where the schedule screws you over a little bit when it
Yeah.
comes to these 82 game seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100% right on that. And it is pretty crazy sometimes how you look at the schedule. And I think we've said this like in seasons past as well, where even on the back to backs, like I think we pointed out one season that there was there was a couple of teams there where every back to back they had, they were playing like the bottom teams. So like every single back to back, they were playing their back to back at home and against one of the lower teams. And then you had these other teams that were playing back to backs, but every single one of their back to backs, they were playing away and they were playing Colorado, they were playing Vegas, they were playing Dallas. And it's like, and also on top of that, they were playing teams that weren't playing on back to backs. And so you sit there and you go, well, how tough is that to win? You go away against a team like Vegas who aren't on a back to back, and sometimes teams who had had 3 days rest and they were playing on a back to back against that team. It's the schedule can really stuff your season around, and I do understand that a lot of teams do go through it, but I do believe you see it happen to a few teams over some other teams in the league, and
Mm.
I might be shouting out a bit of
Batman's
favoritism
favorites,
there.
nah, nah. All right.
But yeah,
On
yeah.
to
All right.
my 19. I have the Ottawa Senators.
Ooh, yeah, they're my 19 as well. Look at this. We're on a roll here. Few in
Yeah.
a row.
Look, they won the last three, but they're still 5-5 in the last 10. But things are trending in the right direction. Good amount of wins now. plus minus goal differential in the positive, above 500 points percentage.
Mhm.
They've been, they did go on like a slight slump. They did have an easier week, albeit I think,
Yeah.
Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, who we just mentioned, were on a slide, and then Chicago. So all bottom tier teams, like two of them in our bottom four. Um,
Yeah.
so it's hard to move hard on a team that gets an easy week like that.
Yeah.
But albeit you got to win them, and they did.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so there's credit there. I hope this is a little change for them coming into eventually the new year, that they can start going on that run that they were going on before. Next game is on a back-to-back against Boston, so I'll be interested to
Hmm.
see if they can maintain it or if it was all, just easy teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. All right. On to 18 for me. I have the New York Rangers.
17.
17. Yeah. Look, they drop a few for you. I had them in 18 last week. But yeah, they had a so-so week. They went 2-2. They were a -4 in goal differential. And every time I think and this is why I didn't put them in my top 16, is because every time they give you that glimmer of, hey, we're back, we're coming, they sort of pull you back into reality. Um, so yeah, I think they're getting better, and I think they're pushing for a playoff spot, but I just think they're on that cusp right now, and I don't think they've quite worked out how to get to that next stage.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why they're outside the top 16. A lot of
Mm,
these teams are just like consistency is a problem.
mhm,
We're almost at 30 minutes, so I guess we should probably speed along into the top
mhm.
16. Uh, at 18, I have the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah,
I
they're my
thought
17.
I thought they might have been higher. The way
Mm,
they've been, looking, and McDavid's been looking and stuff, but they still manage ways to lose, and they only go 2-2 this week.
mhm.
I would have thought, the way things look like they were projecting, that they could have, gone on a big run. But obviously, they just versed Minnesota Wild, top team, and lost that one, losing to Montreal as well at the start of the week, and their two wins against Pittsburgh and Boston. Um,
Yep.
yeah, pretty decent. Obviously, the Wild game's a hard one to get a win out of. I do expect them to probably scratch in the top 16 at some point. They
Mm,
After the Vegas back to back, they got three easy games in Calgary's and Winnipeg. Two
mm,
Calgary's and a Winnipeg. So I could see them in the top 16 next week. Uh,
yep.
they're looking better, but they still got problems that they have to sort. And
Yeah, definitely. And
did Jari get injured as well?
Jari got injured as
As
well,
well.
yeah. So
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 yeah,
their goaltending savior got injured. So yeah, it'll be interesting. All
yeah,
right, on to my top 16. We've got the same teams in the top 16, which is interesting. It's been a few weeks since that's happened, I think.
it's been
But the LA
so long.
Kings.
Same 16.
Yeah, I don't actually think these guys deserve to be in the top 16, to be honest with you. Um, I just couldn't put the Oilers or the Rangers or the Senators or
Mm.
keep the Pens
Some
in.
team has
So
to be there. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, they've been interesting this season. They played some good hockey and then they played some really ordinary hockey at times. And I don't think they've quite figured out how to play consistent at their best. So I don't know. I think they'll get it together and they'll still make playoffs. But it's just I don't think they're at the level that they could be. And I don't know if it's just because they don't have it this season or if they just haven't found it yet, but there seems to be something missing.
Yeah, they're consistently competitive in every
Hmm.
game. It's always very close, but they need to hit like they only have 88 goals for the season, but they've only conceded 90. Like
Yep.
that's extremely low. It's the second least amount of goals conceded, obviously
Mm.
besides the Yavs, and
Yep.
but it is the second least amount of goals scored besides the Kraken.
Yep.
There's your problem. The defense is great. We just need to see more offense. And I know it's kind of like a Philly thing where like you're trying to play your system and stuff, but At some point you got to start putting more goals in during regulation.
Yeah, if you don't put the puck in the back of the net, you can't win. It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
Like
it's a simple game.
these, it's a simple game. Yeah.
All right, on to 15 for me, Montreal.
Montreal, I have them at 14.
Oh, big call. Nah, 6-3-1 in the
Massive.
last 10, won the last two, 600 save, goal, point percentage, my god, save goal percentage. My god, they are all different, but yeah, look, 3-1 this week. They're looking really, really good. Uh, it's just need to see a little bit more consistency. Some of the other
Mhm.
teams in this top 16 have started to turn it on as well, so they're going to have to just maintain that to
Yeah.
yeah keep going.
Yeah. Look, they're I think I think they'll make the playoffs and I think they're good for it. But yeah, they just have I think they have that new playoff team energy about them where they can be really exciting, but then they can get a slap back to reality where it's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, you're new here. You haven't
yeah.
quite figured out.
My concern for them, like in the last 10, they haven't beaten anyone better than them. Like it's
Yeah,
Pittsburgh, Chicago, Oilers, Jets,
yeah.
and Toronto. So in shootout. So it's like you need to start beating the teams that are
You
better than you.
you're not really coming up against any of them in the playoffs, are you?
Mm,
Besides the Oilers, if you make the Stanley Cup. But
mm.
like even this year, like yeah, it's yeah, you got to be beating teams that are playoff caliber if you're going to be a playoff caliber team. But onto my 15, I have speaking of playoff caliber team, Florida Panthers.
They are my 11.
I actually think this team might be where he has gone very big on them.
I think they're
Um,
back, boy. I think they're back.
they're back. He's calling it. They're back. Just FYI, this is the first time the Florida Panthers have been in my top 16 this season.
Ooh,
Um,
I'd have to check
yeah,
mine, but that's
that's
probably something similar.
wild. But yeah, look, they are looking much better than how they have been. But we've said it all season. They don't have to blow everyone away. They just have to do enough to make the playoffs. They have a lot of injuries. They have a lot of players out. But if they can just scrape together enough wins to get them in the playoffs, we all know what they can do once they're there. And the 7-2-1 run is exactly what they needed to get them back in the sniff.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say like the last blemish like was today against St. Louis.
Mhm.
In the from then the last like 9 games they've been like top tier.
Solid. Yeah.
Like very competitive in the losses
Hmm.
and winning the other ones. I do, and they've first some top tier opponents. You know, Dallas, Tampa, Carolina,
Yeah. And
Islanders. Like,
that's the sign,
yeah,
right?
that's a sign. Yeah,
That's what you didn't see from Montreal.
yeah. So
Um,
that's why I've gone a bit bigger than them. I do think they're back to an extent, but we'll have to wait
yeah.
and see if that's completed. On to
Hmm.
14 for me, Vegas.
Vegas. See, this is a team that I hated putting here, but I had them there last week and I couldn't drop them because
Phew.
everyone else around them was shit. I had them at 9 and they have to stay at 9 because everyone else
Meanwhile,
sucks at the
I'm
moment.
moving down on them. 6-2-2
One.
in their last 10. It's, I think, a little bit exaggerated on how well they're doing.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
they've only got the 16 wins. Like points percentage wise, the next one with 15 wins is LA.
Hmm.
To
Yeah.
put in perspective, it's like when you're watching them, they're always competitive, but
Hmm.
they they play 2 games this week. 6-3 lost to Calgary. You can't do that. And then obviously shootout lost to New Jersey. The only goal in that was a power play goal. So
Hmm.
I have concerns with how this team operates in that sense and having to always go OT shootout
Yeah.
scenarios. So
They're definitely merchants.
yeah, I think their record is being exacerbated a little bit by a lot of shootout OT wins.
Yeah.
And yeah, I need to see more 5-on-5. Like I said in the New Jersey game, only goal they scored was a power play goal. So
Yeah. 100%. All right, on to my 13. I have to actually check this. Speaking of the team that they lost to in the shootout, New Jersey Devils.
Ooh, I have them in my top 10 at 10.
Wow.
Yeah, they just
Look,
ended up sitting there. Yeah.
yeah, look, I do understand it because look, a lot of my top 10 didn't really move that much because everyone sucked this week. Um, but yeah, look, it's looking better. They obviously get Brett Pesci back, who has been light and day their best defender um, from before he went down with his injury. And immediately he comes back and he makes an absolute positive impact on the team. So obviously that's going to be a big boost for them, especially seeing how badly they were lacking on the defensive front since he went down. Um, I just don't want to move on them too quickly because again, it's the amateur errors that they make game in, game out that causes them to lose games, and I need to see them rectify that before I have them back in the top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a reluctant top 10. It's kind of just other teams sliding and whatnot. They get Pesci back, as you said. I think they have some stupid stat like a 93% PK with him and like a 66% without him.
Without, yeah.
And they have been conceding power play goals like no tomorrow for the last 2 weeks or so,
Hmm.
which has honestly been just really one of their main cruxes. 5 out of 5 they've been winning. So I think
Hmm.
that that's going to rectify in that sense as well.
Yeah.
And Markstrom finally played a good game, so maybe they're going to get good goaltending from him as well. On to 13 for me, sliding a bit. Philadelphia Flyers. It's kind
Yeah,
of
they're my 12. I'm pretty sure they're my 12. I'm going to put them there and then double check.
yeah, they're kind of like Vegas for me. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Always competitive. They force you to play their game. It's just like sometimes they just don't get the results. And
Hmm.
look, shootout loss against Carolina. Like you went to shootout. That was on a back-to-back from last week where they went to shootout again against them. But then their only win for the week was Montreal. They lose to Buffalo, and then they go to shootout and lose to the Rangers. And it's just a lot of close games, a lot of shootouts. Like they've won 5 and lost 3. Like they've gone to shootout 8 times this season.
They've gone to overtime 14. Like, they've
Yeah,
gone past regulation 14 times.
yeah, it's crazy. And they have a bad last 10, 3-3-4. It is technically 500. Um,
Mhm.
but and that's how they've been operating. Is yeah, if they're gonna lose, they're gonna get a point out of it, and that gets you playoffs.
Look,
Um,
that'll get you in playoffs, yeah, and that's it.
mhm,
And there's no such thing as 3-3 overtime in playoffs. So, um,
mhm.
but yeah, you want to see
They
regulation
could
wins
be a
because at
dark
the end of the
horse if
day,
they do make playoffs. They could be a dark
yeah,
horse because of
and
how
they play a
how well
good
played against
defensive
Buffalo.
system. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, number 11 for me, I have the Detroit Red Wings.
yeah, my 12.
Yeah, look, I teetered putting them in the top 10. They do have one hell of a last 10. I think they're something like seventh in the NHL in standings. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. But yeah, they have sort of had an easier run as schedule wise in the last 10. So that's
Yeah,
not a negative. Like, they've won the games they should. That's what good teams do. But I need to see this team prove themselves as a top 10, and I need to see them beating teams. Like, I need to see them go on a run of difficult games where they play the Avs, they might play Carolina, Minnesota, and then I need to see them win those games. When I see that, I think they'll be a bona fide top 10.
yeah, yeah. Slightly easier run in regards to the wins that they've got, but I do think they're back in a sense. But they are one of those teams that do flip flop. All
Yeah.
right. On to 9 for me. I have Tampa Bay.
We You stay at 6 for me.
Yeah, look, they're a slight slide. They've had some hard opponents to be granted. 3 games for
Mhm.
this week: lose to Florida, lose to Kings, win against Carolina. 2 points. All 3 hard games. Did well against Carolina there, and they were in it in the Kings game, very close. And
Mhm.
they always seem to be in it. Um, yeah, my concern is like it's just starting to lose too many games that they're close, but they probably should have. But it's been a really hard schedule, like Carolina
Yeah.
Kings, Florida. Islanders 3 times, Devils, Montreal, and then the two easiest are Toronto and Pittsburgh. And that was before Pittsburgh
Who
were on a slide,
arguably, yeah,
and Toronto is like the easiest of them there.
yeah.
So it's kind of a crazy schedule. So I'm not punishing him too hard for it.
Nah, exactly. And as I said, leading into this, a lot of these teams here had absolutely terrible weeks as well. So I just couldn't punish them. I was like, look, if it continues and other teams start to play well, yeah, they'll come down. But for now, they stay where they are. All right, my number 10, staying where they were last week, which is a very consistent thing for this top 10 this week, the Anaheim Ducks.
Oh, I moved on them. They're at 6.
Ooh, he's
It's only
moved
because the
up.
other team slid. That's all. Yes.
Look, like I said, every team sucked. So
Hmm.
I was just like, I looked at it and I went, "Do you know what? You don't deserve to go up. You don't deserve to go down. Like, you deserve to go down, but no one below you played better. So you stay where you are." Um, yeah, look, they had an okay week, but it's not something that I think um, was anything spectacular. They go 2-1-1, but they still end up with a negative goal difference as well.
No, because of the Dallas game. that's
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, but you can't just go and get belted. I know Dallas are good, but you go and get belted.
I think it's
Like
the
that's
third
not.
time in history they've lost by 8 goals at home or something like
Yeah,
that. Like we conceded 8 at
yeah,
home.
yeah. So it wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good look, but there was no one below them I could move them below, and there was no one above that I could move them above. So they stay where they are for now. But yeah,
All right. On to my 8. I have the Islanders,
they are my 7.
and yeah, this team 6-3-1 in their last 10. It's just a slow slide in a sense for the week. Like no wins, only the shootout loss against Buffalo on a back-to-back from 4-1 loss against a rejuvenated Vancouver, and then
Mhm.
the 3-2 loss in a close game against Detroit. So no points. I had to punish them a bit. I do think the Vancouver game is a harder opponent because I do think they're rejuvenated in a bit.
Yeah,
So it's not the Vancouver 32th Vancouver that we thought. Um,
yeah,
and look, they were close against Detroit and Buffalo,
yep,
who have been competitive. So still very strong team, doing all the right things.
yeah, 100%. All right, my 8. If you couldn't tell, another team staying where they were last week, the Boston Bruins.
Alrighty, my 7.
Yeah, just another team in the top 10 that didn't have a great week. 1-2-1 on the week, -4 goal differential, but they did outshoot their opponents quite significantly. So, look, all in all, they take 3 out of 8 points, so it's not the worst week. But yeah, it's not a week I would say looked overly fantastic for them. They're down at, I think they're down at something like 17th in the standings. No, 14th in the standings.
Mm.
But the craziest thing is they've got the equal sixth most amount of wins this season.
Yeah,
Um,
they're one of the team. They only got one extra point. That's
yep,
it's how it's been for them. They get it done in OT. That's pretty
yeah,
much how it's been. Like
yep,
they've gone to OT shootout 6 times, 3 of those being shootout. The other
yep.
ones, they've won all 3 OTs. So they need to get to OT,
Mhm.
uh, to get because they'll win it in
Well,
OT.
they need to lose their games in OT rather than losing them in regulation, basically.
Basically,
But it's yeah, yeah.
yeah. Alrighty. On to 5 for me. It is Washington.
Yeah, I've got them at 5 as well.
Where are they? There we are. And yeah, just a slight slide, as you mentioned, 5-3-2 in their last 10. Um, it's, I don't think anything to worry about. The one win this week against Toronto 4-0, 5-0 loss against Wild, 5-2 loss today against Detroit. My concern is there was a 5-1 loss against the Jets before the Wild
Mhm.
one. So
Yeah.
that's my concern, is that it's starting to look like a trend. and
Yeah.
conceding too many goals. I know they get the shutout against Toronto, but I don't know how much I rate that because it's Toronto.
Yeah.
And yeah, conceding 15 goals in the other three games is a very very concerning.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. They're slipping a little bit, but yeah, I don't think it's anything to get concerned about too quickly. It's just you don't want to turn it into a habit. All right, number 4 for me is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, look, another team in this top 10 that, you know, they're probably the best performing team in this top 10. 2-1-1. They got 5 out of 8 points. I wouldn't say it was a fantastic week, but it's not a poor week. They still come out above 500, which is good. But we've said this for a long time, man. Like the Canes are basically just in cruise control at the moment. They lose today against the Lightning 6-4, but that was a tight competitive game. Um, wait, that was today? I had the
Yeah,
right
it
one
was
up,
today.
didn't I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was today. It
Please
was
tell
on a
me I was
back to
looking at it
back
right.
from a shootout loss against Florida, and then before that
Yes.
they beat Nashville 4-1 in a close game. That was close,
Yeah.
and then a
So
shootout win against Philly at the start of the week.
yeah, exactly. So, you look at their run, and like we've said all season, these guys are just in cruise control at the moment. They're gonna lose a couple of games, they're gonna win some games, they're gonna get themselves through, they're gonna be top 3 in the Metro. Um, and that's basically all you can say about this team. Like they're going to make the playoffs,
Hmm.
and that's when it's gonna matter.
Yeah, the thing about this team, they haven't made a game easy on their opponent. That's why
No.
they are always top five for me at the moment. It's always a
Yep.
hard game. On to three, Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think they were at the bottom end at the start of the season. Uh,
Yep.
this week, 6-2 win Boston, 5-0 win against the Caps, 5-2 win against Columbus, and then a 5-2 win against Oilers. Um, that's a lot of goals. That's
Hmm.
21 goals in 4 games.
Yep.
And there's not many goals conceded. The most goals conceded in the game being two. It 8-2 last 10, won their last 7. Their plus minus in goal differential is I think third in the league now. It's
Yep.
everything's trending in the right direction. Not many not many people score against them, and that's highlighted by the two, most being two this season. This week, sorry. Only 91 goals against this season. So
Yep.
far they're what, eighth or something in goals for, but
Yep.
they're third. I think in or yeah, third in goals conceded. So
Yep.
really well done.
Yeah, look, honestly, if it wasn't for Avs and Stars being as good as they have been all season, you would actually be considering the Wild at number 1 right now,
Mm,
with how they're playing. And I did contemplate it for a little bit, but it's hard to move away from those two teams above them, um,
mm.
given how consistent they've been all season. But Wild are something to be scared of, especially now that they've picked up Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, all from the same division is the top three.
Hmm.
It's yeah,
Yep, that's your central for you, mate. Like,
mm,
and do you know what the worst part about that is? This is the plead to change the structure of the playoffs. Those 3 teams, one of them won't make it past the first round,
yeah. That's why like
all
first round
because
exits don't really make
no,
sense. Like
no,
there's
it's
nothing
stupid.
harsh on.
You're gonna
Yeah,
if playoffs were to start today, you would have second versus third in the NHL playing each other to get through to the second round. And
yep,
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
yep.
Change the structure.
I know, I
Change the
know, I know
goddamn
they want
structure.
rivalries, but you gotta make sense. All
No,
right,
you need it to make sense.
on
All
to
right, number
two.
2. I have the Dallas Stars.
I'll just fill it in. It's-
Yeah.
don't need to hear you talk. I'll fill it in.
Nah, I don't think you needed to.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone needed us to talk about this. I think it was pretty obvious. But Dallas Stars are still absolutely unbelievable. They continue to play fantastically consistent hockey. Um, 8 goals, 8 goals against the Ducks as well. That's an impressive, an impressive win, man.
Yeah, yeah. They what 4-1 against Kings, 5-3
Hmm.
Sharks, 8-3 Ducks. Same with the Wild. A lot of goals being
Yeah,
scored. Which is good because they did get shut out the game before all those games by
yeah,
the Florida Panthers. So honestly, their last 10's always been really good all season. 7-2-1
yeah.
is their current. Obviously, won their last three. Second in plus minus goal differential. Easy number two, I think, though Wild is knocking on the door. But number one, Colorado Avalanche. Obviously not moving. I don't even know what to say. Like, they've been here for so long. 8-1-1 last 10. Won the last four. Plus 57 goal differential. They
Yep.
conceded the least amount of goals in the league by 11. They've only conceded 79. The next highest is 90, and that's
Hmm.
and that's still very low.
Yeah.
And they also have scored the most goals in the league at 136. Next highest being Dallas at 128.
Yep.
So it's happening on all fronts. Probably not by shootout because the 0-4 in shootout doesn't matter
Hmm.
in playoffs. Um, yeah, I think you definitely want the number one spot because you don't want to be versing. You don't want to be second or third in that division. I don't think.
No, and the craziest thing for the Avs right now is they're only one bad week away from being second in the Central. One bad week.
Yeah, yeah. Like if Dallas won them all in a sense, yeah.
And that one bad
They
week
got 2 games in
takes them
hand on
from
Dallas, but
playing.
yeah.
Yeah, they do, but they one bad week away from being first playing probably one of the shitter teams that make the playoffs, or being second and playing the next best team in the
Mm.
playoffs. Like, yeah,
It sucks for the
change
Wild because they had so many
change the structure.
round one exits, and now they're like a top three team, and they can still be looking at a round one exit just because of
Yeah, they're gonna come
it's
up against one of the best teams.
it's
Like,
actually yeah, it's like the Toronto thing. Like they had a lot of round one exits, but a lot of it was against like Boston and Tampa. Like
yeah,
they're round
I,
one,
I
but like it's top teams.
exactly. I would say to Minnesota, if you can't get that number one spot off of Colorado, tank
Tank
and
for a wild card.
finish second in the wild card spot. Honestly, like you are better off playing someone from the Pacific because I guarantee you are more of a chance against Vegas, LA, Oilers,
Mm.
you know, than you are, or Ducks, than you are against Colorado or Dallas.
All right, let us know what you think of our power rankings. Obviously, moves on my side, not many moves on Nick's side. Yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know what your power rankings were and where you think differently. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. But till next time, we'll catch you guys.
Bye, guys.